Tell me how you feel about this story. It happened here, right here where we are in Greensboro, North Carolina. The ACC swimming championships were held here, and a guy by the name of Owen Lloyd, who goes to North Carolina State, won the 1,650-meter freestyle.
That's almost a mile.
That's a
long swim.
And he won it, by the way, by just a few meters over his teammate, also from NC State, Ross Dant, but more than 50 meters ahead of the other competitors. They were way out in front.
Okay.
So both from NC State, they finished 1-2.
Just lap the field.
Yes.
Virtually.
So as soon as the winner, Owen Lloyd, won, he came up out of the water, held his hands up, climbed onto the rope separating the two lanes. You know, that plasticky kind of rope. Mm-hmm. Climbs on it, straddles it, holds his hands up, and then falls over into his teammate's lane where they hug. That is against the rules because others were still swimming. You cannot enter another swimmer's lane, even though both of them had finished and they were just hugging.
But the race was not complete.
The race was not complete. So after the race, so that kid, Owen Lloyd, was disqualified. Now they show him on television crying, sitting like he's in a bathtub taking a Lifetime movie shower.
Knees up to chest.
Knees up to chest. And, of course, he's wearing almost nothing. Knees to chest.
Head buried.
Head buried in knees, all, of course, wet, soaking wet, and crying. And they talked to his teammate, who is now the winner.
I think that's the dumbest rule in swimming. Owen beat me fair and square. He should be on that podium. He was excited. That's a huge win for him, right? He earned that, and that's his emotion, right? That's what we get in the sport of swimming when we do well. We train all year for a moment like that, and to have him disqualified, I think, is the dumbest thing ever.
Do you mind
He works so hard every day. He is going to be on the #1 trophy. I am not going to stand up there.
Now, by the way, the announcers don't know why he's been disqualified yet. So they're going to ask, what are you talking about?
Is that what she said, do you mind?
She said, do you mind? And then she does say that.
Do you mind if I ask you what rule did he break? We haven't even heard of up here.
Whenever you win, you're not allowed. Well, the other team, or excuse me, the other swimmers are still swimming. You have to stay in your own lane. You're not allowed to jump or cross over the lane line into someone's lane. And in his celebration, which he earned, he came over to my lane.
Oh my God.
No, he earned that fair and square. He will be getting that medal.
You hear the crowd. It's been announced.
You can hear the crowd.
So
here's a replay.
Still a lot of time. They were over 50 yards ahead of most of the combatants, and this is the point we're talking about with this technicality.
But that's what you do when you win. I'm sorry.
I don't have any sympathy for him. I'm sorry to say it. He's got to know that rule, right?
I mean, there's probably another... I mean, if these guys were 50 yards behind them, there may be another 30, 45 seconds left in the race.
Exactly. You just wait. Everybody finishes. Get out. Hug your teammate. I hate to say it. You know he knew the rule. The other kid
That's
knew.
the thing.
The other guy knew the rule.
You think they've done it before if he's won other competitions in other venues?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. This was the ACC championship.
He was sitting on the rope and then just tumbled
Fell
into
over.
the other guy's lane.
And they hugged and high-fived and everything.
Because they were done.
Yeah. It's kind of like a football player who scores a touchdown and on the way off the field rips his helmet off. Well, they call it They call a penalty. This is more punitive. Of course, he loses. He's disqualified, and he had won the gold. Zach, you're talking about swimming and this rule. Go ahead.
Hey, Kelly, you're 100% right. They know the rule. It's not enforced often, but really what this comes into play with is more so the distance events, like the 1,000 or the mile, where they could be so far ahead. Sorry, I've got the 2-year-old
That's all right. No,
That's right.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
But basically, and what a response from his teammate Ross Dant. Knowing him, that's exactly who he is. But I'm hoping this inspires change for the rule, where all right, if they end up celebrating or they go into somebody else's lane, a teammate's lane that has completed their race, they haven't impeded anybody.
Right.
But I know for a fact that they, especially for these conference meets, in the coaches meeting, they reminded them before the meet started, hey, just reminding y'all, we know you're going to get on the ropes and celebrate. That's become more commonplace in swimming now. Watch out, especially for the 800 free relay, the mile, when not everybody's done. So they were warned, and he knew. It's just not called a lot.
So are you saying because what he does is straddle the rope and hold his hands up, and then it seems like he loses his balance and falls over into the teammate's line. Had he just straddled the rope and stayed there, that would have been okay?
Technically, no, but
yeah.
that would not have been called. I don't think that would have been.
That's just so common.
They probably were watching that too. Like if he stays there and then he falls over, and it's like, we got to do it.
He's in another lane.
Boy, that's
the
pretty
other,
tough.
The other swimmers could have called him on it. I don't have a problem with this rule.
I don't really either, to be honest with you.
I mean, there's still play on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Yeah, other places to be determined.
Yeah, I mean, it's like being being on the 18th hole, and it's the last round of the golf tournament, and I putt out, and then I start cheering because I won.
Yeah.
But the other guy still has to putt out.
Right.
It's just poor sportsmanship.
And in a meet like this
is conference.
Every school, you get points for wherever you finish. It's school against school.
Yeah.
Now, I believe NC State won
probably
the
handily.
swimming championship.
Well, they won the both. I mean,
they clearly have great swimmers.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it. That's very interesting, the way he's thinking. And you hear he wants.
But you're right. Everybody else is still swimming for points.
I don't have a problem with the rule either, and they should. And he said they warn him ahead of time.
Yeah, if you know the rule, if it's not just a.
So let me ask you this: let's say it's track and field, and you're running 2 miles. Can you come off and start high-fiving with your teammates and stuff? I think you probably have to clear the track, don't you think? Similar?
Well, at least, the thing is, you're past the field of play.
You don't
at
go
that
to,
point, and there's nothing else around you. You're not impeding anything.
Yeah.
You're still in the water.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. He could have gotten out of the pool.
These guys still have their heads down in the water and can see you splash down or whatever.
If both swimmers had gotten out of the water onto the pool deck, I'm sure they could have high-fived.
All would have been well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dang.
But if you're one lane over still swimming and you can see up in the distance and this guy's flopped over and splashing around.
Could mess you up.
I don't know anything about swimming.
I can only speak to it from the pickleball perspective. Listen, if I see a ball in a neighboring court, even if it's not on my court, it bothers me. I have that kind of concentration. Okay,
you mean rolling across the court?
That's right.
Some of us are playing here.
That's right. That's exactly what I mean. If I catch in my periphery,
that's so nothing.
A ball, I can speak to it. Listen. When you're a finely tuned athlete. You see something like that. You see a ball rolling 60 feet away.
A plastic ball.
It's a bother. It's a huge bother.
My cat sees that.
Mayela, we have a comment on this. Go ahead.
Yeah, sadly, I know all too well about this rule, but I learned it at a very young and tender age.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I used to swim on it was like a summer swim team at a local pool, and I was small, but I was mighty and I was fast. I was a good little swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on a relay team, and I can't remember what order I was in. I think I was about 11 years old, and we were doing the relay. I did my thing. We come in, last swimmer comes in, touch the wall. We are in first place, and I jump into my own lane to congratulate my teammate and disqualified the entire lane.
Your own lane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the jumping in.
That hurts.
Okay.
So you know this.
So even
ultimate-
youth swimmers know.
What do you feel about this particular rule? Do you think they should abolish the rule? You okay with them punishing this young man who won?
I don't have a problem with rules. I just find it astounding that someone at that caliber, like I was 11, and I remember the coach looking at me like, oh my God, you just ruined everything. And, the shame I felt.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where I weigh in on the rule, but I'm just shocked that someone at that level is not familiar with the rule.
I think he was familiar and decided to do the rope trick and fell over. And
into his buddy's lane, thinking he's probably okay.
Exactly. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Too bad.
Small but mighty.
Yeah. It is too bad, but I'm sorry. I'm a rule person. I'm a rule follower.
He really is.
I follow rules, exactly.
Except when he doesn't.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't sound like it's rare. I mean, it sounds like all these swimmers know it.
Yeah.
From 11 years old to
exactly
22.
To the Olympics.
Exactly. So that's just, I didn't have too much of a problem with it.